It's a big couple of weeks for the Grizzlies, man. Just a lot of stuff happening. Obviously, Ja Morant's return to the team. They've won 9 of the past 10 games. They are shooting the ball better than they ever have in the history of the organization. Jaren Jackson Jr. seems to have turned it on. Just give your thoughts about the Grizzlies, boys, as they're winding the season down.
2 games ahead of the Kings, so I feel pretty damn confident about where they're at. They're going to have the Magic tomorrow night.
Yep.
And obviously, it'll be by the time this releases, that game will have been
be
played.
over.
And then they're going to have 2 games against the Clippers that you thought were going to be tough, but now no Paul George.
Right.
So, like, the rest of their schedule seems pretty easy, and they could really hold on to that number 2 spot, which would guarantee them 2 straight rounds in the NBA playoffs of home court advantage, which is nice. But this stretch they're on, this is fun because I think it's like a pseudo transformation offensively, because what they have done up to this point, last year, the reason they were so good, second chance opportunities, points in the paint. Now they're shooting the ball like crazy, folks. Luke Kennard against the Rockets when they scored 151 was 10 for 11 from 3 with 30 points. The team that night was 25 for 42 from 3. The last 7 games for Luke Kennard, he's been in double figures, 31 for 51 from 3. And I looked this up too in that Rockets game. Between Luke Kennard and Desmond Bane, who I think everybody would say, like, from a fear perspective from the three-point line, top 10. Like, people fear those guys from the three-point line. In that game, they were 15 for 18 from 3 by themselves, just those two.
Yeah.
So, like, it feels like a transition and a transformation offensively to a team that really can beat you in multiple different ways. And once Steven Adams comes off the shelf, you're starting to get those second chance opportunities, those offensive rebounds, and you're shooting that way. Who the hell knows, man? Ceiling could be high. And
ceiling is high.
On the Jaren front,
Ooh.
I think there's been multiple times in his career so far that we've thought he has turned the corner. I think this time is literally the time he's turned the corner, because now it's not just lobs at the rim. It's not just three-point shooting. It's not just him attacking mismatches.
Or getting some glimpses of him being a good three-point shooter. It's consistent.
Well, no, and it's this dude literally putting his back on a guy on the low block,
and working,
calling for the ball, and using his footwork to go score. Like, we've never seen that from him, and he does it time in, time out.
Yeah, he seems to have turned into the multi-dimensional forward that for so many years now, as you kind of alluded to, we've seen glimpses of, but it's just the consistency hasn't been there.
And the fouls have hurt him too.
Right. But with the way that he's played, Ja Morant coming back, and as we said last week, hasn't missed a beat. Take it back to the trade deadline, Gabe. We were talking OG Anunoby, all these guys that can make a difference. Luke Kennard has been an extreme difference maker. Just having that, because for so long, Memphis has never been a great three-point shooting team.
They've been begging for him.
Right, forever.
Mike Miller's damn near he's a legend because of it.
Because he could shoot threes.
Yes.
And so
Courtney Lee was loved.
Right.
Was loved because he could shoot a 3.
So Desmond Bane obviously has been a big point of interest for fans over the past couple of years because of how good of a shooter he is. But he's been all they've had as a three-point threat, consistent three-point threat. Luke Kennard, that's all he does. All he is a shooter. You mentioned the other night, 30 points, 10 threes. All 10 of his made shots were threes. Man. So he adds another dimension that, a lot of people were like, okay, that's fine. But no one was like, okay, this is a needle mover.
You wanted the big, people wanted that big stamp of like, okay, this is
contender.
A championship team.
Yep. But now it's like, man, Luke Kennard has really spread this out. He's opened it up for Jaren. We haven't got to see him and Ja too much together because Ja's only been back for 2 games, but you can kind of see the way that it's going to work, and it's just like this team is up there, top 3? Top 3 that you would say could win a championship this year?
And here's the thing about, like, the championship and like, winning the Western Conference. It's like, why not the Grizzlies,
exactly.
right? Like, why not?
It's wide open.
I'm not saying they will. I wouldn't bet for it. I wouldn't bet money that the Grizzlies are going to go through the Western Conference and win the Western Conference. But Suns, Okay, if they're healthy, sure, yeah. But KD's just now getting back. Ayton's been on the shelf for some time. Chris Paul always gets hurt in the playoffs. Devin Booker last year got hurt in the playoffs, and that's why they slowed down and ended up losing. The Nuggets, sort of seeing is believing. Can they play enough defense? The Kings, seeing is damn believing. This is the first time they've been really relevant in a long, long time. The
years.
Clippers have never gotten to where they wanted to go. No. I'm still scared of them, though. I think
of course, with the talent that they have.
I get scared of them because they're actually decent home road splits. Like they're pretty even there. The Warriors, their past does not equal what they are now.
No.
Like I just look around the Western Conference. I say, why the hell not?
I agree with you.
I'm not
why
saying,
not?
But I know that sounds sunshine, daffodils, rainbows, the whole thing. But it's like,
it's
at
true.
the same time, the Western Conference is not overly scary right now. And I guess there's going to be some teams once we get into the playoffs that really flip a switch and get going.
Of course.
But until then, like, why the hell not the Grizzlies? And also,
why can't they be the team that flips the switch?
Back to your trade deadline discussion.
Yeah.
It's kind of interesting to see what transpired. Okay, the Grizzlies go get Luke Kennard. He's starting to get involved. They're playing better, 6 straight wins, 9 of 10 in a row, 3 of 4 on the road. Like, they're playing well.
Right.
Look at the Mavs, who went and splashed, made a huge splash.
And they
got Kyrie Irving. And they lost to the freaking Charlotte Hornets twice over the weekend.
Right. And Luka's all in his feels.
Yeah, and Kyrie in those 2 games this weekend was 5 for 15 and 6 for 16.
Yep.
Like, okay, you can make the splash, but first of all, you're shortening your window. And then what happens in the future if you're not getting that championship and taking advantage of it in the next 2 years?
Yep.
So, all in all of that trade deadline discussion we had, yeah, it would be cool to have OG Anunoby, but what were you giving up for him? It would be cool to have Mikal Bridges, but what were you giving up for him in the way of future for at least a few more years of relevancy?
Right.
You know, I look at the Mavs too. It's just that's horrible.
There's
horrible.
There's no way to look at the Grizzlies from any kind of objective standpoint and not love what they're doing right now with just the amount of guys that they have playing well. Jaren, Ja, Luke, Desmond Bane, Tyus Jones off the bench.
And they've had to deal with a hell of a lot too, man.
Yeah.
The Ja stuff just getting over with.
And it's kept.
Steven's been out. Jaren's been out. Bane has missed time. Dylan's missed time. I mean, like,
and it hasn't went off the rails.
It hasn't.
Is that not impressive to y'all though? Like that it hasn't? Because I'm telling you, I legitimately and I can be a bit of a conspiracy theorist when it comes to national media. They want to propagate the narrative. It doesn't matter how many games out the Lakers are.
Yes, they're always.
They are always going to prop them up, and if they win a game, okay, is this it? Are they on their way?
Are they turning it on?
Are they turning it on?
Yeah.
I legitimately believe that the national media tried to derail the Grizzlies this season. A lot of it was self-inflicted.
Yes.
Let's not say.
That's what I was going to say.
A lot of it was self-inflicted. But is it not impressive to y'all that they did not derail when everybody wanted them to?
Especially with the youth of the team, right?
Yeah.
Like, this isn't some veteran-laden group that's been through this, that's been through these lulls with people going in and out. Like, this is still a young team.
Isn't part of it, though, when you go through those issues, obviously responding and showing that championship mentality is big. But, like, other guys get to step up in their absence, and you saw Jaren step up. You saw Luke Kennard step up. You saw Tyus step up. And I feel like ultimately those moments for those guys having to pull the rope a little harder, pull the chain a little bit harder, I feel like that helps a team long term. Now, I remember, though, like, 2 weeks, a month ago, like, you're like, are they just going to hang it up? When's Ja going to come back?
Is it going to fall apart?
Oh, shit. Like, what the hell is going to happen? And I'm back here on a Monday saying, why the hell not in the Western Conference? Because no one else is showing you that they're going to pull away and be unbeatable.
Nope. And Kenny, what did you say? 153s in the last 10 games?
153s in the last 10 games.
That's absurd.
That's transformation.
Has never happened. I mean, the Grizzlies have never had shooting like this.
Never.
Ever.
No. And I'm telling you, the next thing, though, if you can keep up that shooting and get Steven Adams back doing that dirty work, God, man. Who knows?
Somebody said it on Twitter today.
Who knows?
Somebody said it on Twitter today, and I fully agree with it. Imagine Luke Kennard running around a Steven Adams screen.
Yeah, for real. How much space he's having on that.
One more thing, though, before we transition. I do hope that this stretch has showed Taylor Jenkins that at late game situations where he relies on Ja and a Steven Adams high ball screen, you can do other things, brother. Get Jaren Jackson into an angle screen, make him, he can pick, he can pop, he can roll, he can do whatever he wants. You can get other people involved on that last. Run more things. Stop just trying to make Ja the main focal point. And I understand he's a good closer, but other teams see
options.
that. Other teams see that, and in the playoffs, they will try to create a wall, and they'll make it really hard for him.
Yep.
So I hope that's one thing out of this whole stretch. And I know that's very specific, hyper specific, but I hope that the late game, there's more drawn up and they rely on more guys.